Hello, I'm Nicole Strong. I'm the dietitian with the Cardiac Rehab Program. Today we'll be looking at healthy meal planning. I'll just pull up the slides here. So today we'll be looking at just a brief review of healthy eating, and then we'll look into considerations or strategies to consider for meal planning, some ideas around budget and time considerations, and a few other tips and tricks to help make meal planning a successful journey. Is meal planning for you? So if you happen to say yes to any of these questions or thoughts, then you may actually get some benefit from meal planning. Do you feel unprepared to make meals despite having groceries available or food in the cupboard, the pantry, the freezer? Do you purchase takeout or convenience foods a bit more often than you'd like? Do you feel overwhelmed by the question, what do you want for dinner? Or what do you want for any meal in your day? Are you worried about spending too much money on eating out? Are you making several trips to the grocery store throughout the week? And do you believe that your diet could be healthier if you cooked more? So if any of those are a strong yes, then you may benefit from meal planning if you don't already meal plan already. So thinking about heart-healthy eating, ideally trying to aim for each meal or snack to have a good balance and to include a good variety of foods throughout the day. That's where I find the plate method can be a quite handy tool just to check in, see if we're getting a variety of foods, and it really can help meet our needs by the end of the day. So you'll notice Canada's Food Guide recently adopted the plate idea. So a strong emphasis on vegetables and fruits. You'll notice about a quarter of the plate, some type of protein containing food, and then quarter of the plate, some type of carbohydrate, and then just trying to include some type of source of fat at our meal. But looking at it more specifically, trying to think vegetables and fruits, they're quite important. So ideally trying to include them with each meal or snack. Some of the strategies, they do contain a lot of different vitamins, minerals, and each of the different foods actually contain different sets as well in different levels. So trying to include a good variety or even thinking different colors by the end of the day can often give different nutrients. They all do contain different amounts of fiber as well. And so it can be adding vegetables to our day can also increase the amount of fiber that we might take in. And literally any vegetable or fruit can fit this category or this thought. So a couple different examples could include onions, mushrooms, tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots, spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, any of the leafy greens, radishes, beets. Again, the list can go on. We could have apples, blueberries, bananas, raspberries, grapes, kiwis, pears. Again, any fruit that may also fit can also be beneficial. And again, focusing on ones that you really enjoy or finding different ways to enjoy them can make our overall food intake quite enjoyable. So I'm thinking of protein, again, thinking of the plate method, that would be a quarter of the plate. Thinking towards protein containing foods actually help support our immune system. They can help maintain muscle mass, help build body tissue. Again, they also are built different than our vegetables and fruits, so they do contain different sets of vitamins and minerals. And the plant-based sources of protein contain quite a bit of fiber as well, so we can actually get quite a bit of benefit. So different examples might include meat, fish, eggs, nuts and seeds, different types of seafood, dairy products, cheese, yogurt, cottage cheese, Legumes, so whether it's dried beans, peas, lentils, it could be canned. Or I've also seen some more recently in the freezer section as well. So again, thinking a good variety, different types of protein containing foods throughout the day and throughout the week as well. And then this group we could all either call it, you can often call it grains or carbohydrates. Again, carbohydrate containing foods tend to be our body's preferred source of energy. Lots of them do contain different vitamins, minerals. Some of the whole grains do have a little bit of protein in them as well. And they all tend to be great sources of fiber. Again, the closer to the grain, usually the stronger it is in fiber and nutrients as well. So this could include bread, pasta, rice, different types of cereals, different types of grains, barley, buckwheat, triticale, farro, oats. But we could also count within this group, again, could include fruits, could include some of the starchy vegetables, different types of squashes, potatoes I would stick in this group. Corn, again, depends. You could also put it here. And similar idea for legumes. They're an interesting food. They could go in a couple different categories, either towards the protein or towards the carbohydrates as well. So it's quite an interesting group in itself. Again, thinking towards variety and can also help meet our needs. Then we've got healthy fats. So ideally not necessarily trying to aim to include healthy fat at each meal, but is there a source of fats within our meal? So it might already be in a food, or we might be adding to it. So different types of fats will help reduce inflammation or irritation in the body tissues. They could also help with managing our cholesterol levels. So healthy fats might include different types. It might be found in our food, so in lean meats, chicken, pork tenderloin, lean ground beef, so lots of the leaner cuts. It could also be in fish and seafood, specifically the ones that contain omega-3 fatty acids that really help reduce inflammation and can help with cholesterol levels would be in some of the fatty fish, salmon, trout, sardines, mackerel. It's also in wild game as well. And then other sources of healthy fats might include nuts and seeds, avocado, again, olive oil. There's a lot more research around it, but there other types of oils could also be used. Canola oil, safflower, sunflower, sesame oil, peanut oil. Again, just a lot more research around olive oil and heart health at this point. So when it comes to meal planning, ideally thinking a good variety of food showing up with each meal or snack. And that's where I do find the plate method a great way to check in with that variety. So we can also use it as a good base when we're planning our meals. So a couple different examples could be, say, barbecue chicken. That'll give us our protein. There's some natural fats in there. Roasted garlic potatoes. Again, that'll be the carbohydrate group. So if we're to have half or a full-size medium potato, that could work there. And so far, we haven't really mentioned other vegetables at this point. So even having a salad or a roasted vegetable with a little bit of olive oil vinaigrette can definitely give things a little bit of a boost and really round out that dish. So that's one example of a dish where some of the foods might be separated out, but it can also be a mixed dish. So things like a beef chili, where we might have some lean ground beef. We've got our protein, some of the healthy fats naturally found in that food. We might have a variety of vegetables, thinking onions, bell peppers, mushrooms, maybe some corn, diced tomatoes, tomato sauce, different seasonings. Again, that can contribute towards the vegetables. So there's a really good base of different types of vegetables in that dish. We might have some kidney beans. Again, that'll contribute a little bit more to protein and really give a good boost in fiber. And legumes, they could go for the protein or for the carbohydrates. So they're kind of interesting in that sense. So it just depends if you enjoy maybe a slice of toast or a whole grain roll or maybe a little bit of rice with that chili. That could give a little bit more for the carbohydrates. Again, keeping an eye on servings. But that can be a well-rounded dish. If you wanted to give it a little bit of an extra boost, you could have maybe another cooked vegetable on the side. Or maybe some veggies and dip. So there's a lot of different ways we can play with meal planning and how to build up our meals. So meal planning, so that's kind of specifically looking at the meal itself. And it can go for any variety of dishes, any meal we might be looking at or time of the day. So we can use those strategies thinking of the plate for different meal times as well. But meal planning itself can actually happen, say, within the same day. We might start off our day with our breakfast and think ahead towards what we might have for lunch and supper or with our snacks. Or we can think ahead, a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead. So it can happen in a few different ways, thinking about meal planning. If we're looking at longer periods, say the week or 2 weeks ahead, that's where I find a calendar or a chart can often help keep track of some of the ideas, but also help make planning a bit more efficient. And that's where I find something just like this example of a meal plan, thinking the days of the week, some of the different meals that might show up, and even having an extra box for either tasks to do the next day. So things, say if we're making a chili, if the ground meat is in the freezer, I might want to pull the meat out either the day ahead or first thing the day of. And that I could use that box as a reminder the day before to pull the ground meat out, and it'll be thawed and ready to go for the next day. So you could have tasks like that, or that box could also be used for different snack ideas that you might want to use in that day. So there are different ways we can play with that. Strategies for selecting different meals. We choose, again, everybody has different tastes. So if there's different family members in the household or other people in the household, again, choosing different favorite recipes we could plug in, or thinking of some of the different foods that different people might enjoy. Using those as a base to start off some of our meal planning. We could use cookbooks, magazines, websites. You could use recipe swaps with different family members or friends. Again, I do find it very useful to just do a bit of an inventory. So check in the fridge, the freezer, the pantry, just to see what you have on hand. But not only that, to keep in mind what you need to use up. If something's been sitting in the fridge for the last week, and you might want to use it before it starts to turn. So planning a meal with that as an ingredient will make sure it gets used and we can incorporate it into our meal. Similar idea for things in the freezer. If something's in the freezer for long enough, it'll eventually get freezer burnt. And the taste and flavor, even the texture may change at that point. So we want to make sure that we use it up before that starts to happen. So just keeping tabs, checking what you have, and planning for a way to use it can often be a great way to meal plan and use things up in that sense. Thinking about budget, we might want to review flyers just to see what's coming up on sale and even plan some meals around that, or even keeping some meal ideas for in the future. So if you plan on maybe some ground beef comes up on sale, we can purchase it at a great price, put it in the freezer, and we can meal plan with that ground beef down the road, whether it's a few weeks or even a month down the road if it's in the freezer. Or we could plan to use it, say, next week if we pick it up today. Again, or in the next few days. Again, there's different ways we can play with that as well. But using flyer items to pick up items that we might typically use or use in our meal plans can really save a lot of money. So I find often planning or using the time of the day that you have more time to cook and prepare foods. If any meals require a bit more time for cooking, I would plan those meals out first. So for me, supper time tends to be the time that I have more time to cook. So I'll plan those meals first into my day, and from there I'll add the breakfast and lunch ideas into my meal plan. And from there, I'll have a sense of what kind of foods I might have for supper. And I can even plan some leftovers to use for lunch, or even maybe some ingredients I can plan to use them in the morning the next day as part of a different dish. So you can give it a little bit more versatility that way. So once you plug in your meals, the more intensive and then the other meals to go with it, you can check to see what you have on hand or what you already have for some of the ingredients, and from there make the rest of your shopping list of any other items you might need to finish off those meals or that you'll need for ingredients. From there, you can, another key piece in making meal planning successful is designating a specific time. So whether it's putting it almost as an appointment in your schedule to sit down and plan your meals, and even to plan out your grocery store shopping trip. One example, here in Thunder Bay, I find the flyers tend to come out on Thursday. So I'll make a point on Friday, plan out the meals for the following week, and from there do some food shopping on the weekend. So then it's ready to go, starting the meal plan for Monday coming up. A couple of key points also would be to plan the meals to your skill level. So also making sure that you might use recipes that you're familiar with or ingredients that you feel fairly confident with cooking. Even if some of it might be new, picking some that seem fairly simple and doable as well for ingredients and new recipes. And also keep in mind your own schedule. So if it's a busier day, you might not want to pick recipes that take a long time to cook or prepare. If it's a day that you tend to have more time, then that's where those days will fit better. So again, keeping things nice and simple with some quick and easy recipes can also help with keeping meal planning successful. Sometimes our days might change or the unexpected could come up, and that's where keeping some basic pantry items on hand can be key, or even making a list of, say, 5 different meals that you could make out of ingredients you have on hand. And that can, if your schedule changes and you might not have time for what you had planned, you have a couple of backup ideas that you can put together in a timely way that it'll fit into that day. Other things that can also help with time management would be designating a day of the week and having a theme for that day. So a couple examples would be, say, Taco Tuesday. As a Taco Tuesday comes by, or after a few of them pass by, you'll have a really good sense of what ingredients you'll need. It makes it a bit more efficient of keeping an eye on what you have and a sense of what you'll need to pick up for other groceries. And you'll really have a sense of what to expect, even time-wise, coming into that day. It could be build your own pizza Friday, meatless Monday, chicken Tuesday, and as that day comes in, you'll have a good awareness or a really solid plan and confidence level coming into that meal. You could consider flexibility in ingredients. Keeping things flexible in a sense that if maybe a grocery item's not available, that you don't need to revamp your whole menu, but you could substitute other things in. So if maybe you had a plan for buckwheat, but maybe it wasn't available, you could substitute in rice for the same dish. Or maybe something was on sale, but it wasn't on the shelf. You could substitute in something else and still accomplish that meal plan. Other things that can make things a bit more, or other ideas that can make things a bit more efficient, would be cooking dishes in large batches. So whether it's a whole entire casserole, you might do two batches, and you could put one in the freezer for, say, 2 weeks down the road, or you could do 2 batches, do individual portions with the extra, and then you could put that in the freezer or the fridge for use later in the week or different meal times. You could also bulk prepare single ingredients. I have a few clients that really enjoyed oatmeal a few times in their week. So they would prepare a large batch in their slow cooker in the beginning of the week, and then they would just keep it in the fridge and portion out and heat up a certain amount for other days of the week, and just mix and match different toppings for those other sittings. And they found that really worked for them. Similar idea, you could prepare a large batch of rice or different types of grains and use it as a side for one dish. You could mix it into other dishes or even throw it into soup for a different day. So it can really be an ingredient in different types of dishes as well. And similar idea, you could do that for most meats. You could open a batch of, or a can of beans, give it a quick rinse, and from there you can put it into a few different dishes. So there's different ways to play with that as well. I find a lot of different ingredients are also coming pre-cut, canned, or frozen. So it gives a little more versatility and different ways to store different foods. Canned vegetables can be quick and easy. They'll stay on the shelf for a long time. You could just give them a quick rinse, get rid of the water, and from there they're ready to go into any dish. Similar idea for frozen. You can take out a little bit of what you need. The rest will stay very well in the freezer. And you can even have several different types of vegetables and mix and match as well. So a lot of different options there. And even for beans, peas, and lentils. They can come canned. I've noticed some recently in the freezer section. Or you could do them prepared from dried, which may require a bit more time, but canned can be quick and easy. A quick rinse and it can go into almost any dish. There are a few different types of kitchen appliances that can vary the time for cooking as well. The slow cooker, you could put things in, it'll cook over a long period of time and be ready to go. Or the Instant Pot, you could use similar to a slow cooker, or it could be used as a pressure cooker idea. Where it can cook things at a much lower amount of time compared to putting in the oven, that type of idea. And similar idea for your pressure cooker, it can cook things even quicker than that. So there are quite a few different utensils or appliances that could be used to adjust timing of cooking or different ways of cooking and preparing food. It's quite interesting. There's a lot of different types of benefits to meal planning, whether it's planning within the day or ahead of time. But on average, people who participate in meal planning tend to eat healthier. It can really cut down on the amount of ordering out or eating prepackaged or processed food. Tends to make a shopping experience much more efficient. By using a grocery store list, you save a lot of time in the store itself, but it also cuts down a lot of unplanned purchases. So with your meal plan, you purchase what you need to accomplish that meal plan, and then that's about it. And in the same sense, it also can reduce a lot of food waste. So by buying what you need and accomplishing the plan that you have for your meals, then you use up what you have on hand, and it can really reduce the waste of food when you might buy something and forget to use it, or it might go to the back of the fridge or in the freezer, and we might not use it then. And ultimately, you can save a lot of money. So if you do get any questions or concerns, feel free to give a call. The phone number is 684-6783. And Leanne is the dietitian that will be able to help you out if you do get any questions, or if you're interested in reviewing your own food intake or looking at different strategies that can help support you in the long run to improve your overall health. Thank you.